Today, I will be unboxing the art of deception and how it was used in the American food industry to deceive American people into consuming more meat and dairy products, and the ethics behind the industry, unveiling the truth behind the American food industry and the benefits of a plant-based diet. Deception or falsehood is an act or statement which misleads, hides the truth, or promotes a belief, concept, or idea that is not true. It is often done for personal gain or advantage. Deception can involve propaganda and sleight of hand, as well as distraction, camouflage, or concealment. Deception has been used throughout time for people to give themselves the upper hand. A famous example of deception is the Trojan horse in 1184 BC, where Greek soldiers hid inside a wooden horse, which was presented as a gift to the city of Troy in an attempt to end a 10-year siege. Troy accepted this horse as a gift, and soldiers exited it while everyone slept. This horse turned out to be a very deceptive and very dangerous gift. The Trojan horse in this case is the American food industry and how the American people have been deceived. The American dairy industry began to grow in popularity in the Second World War due to the need for more milk production to send processed dairy products such as powdered milk to the soldiers who were abroad. However, dairy farmers weren't being paid enough to do so, so they had to create more demand for the dairy products. The American government then gave free milk to children in school, thus creating an increase in demand. This shows that the war influenced the societal and cultural norms that we have today in America and across the Western world. As a result of the war and the free milk programs, along with more and more people moving into big cities, dairy was seen as a convenience to many people, most notably mothers of young children who would give milk to their children to provide them with the nutrients from shop-bought milk rather than breastfeeding. Because of the boost in popularity in the dairy industry, it was advertised more and more as a health drink that was necessary in everyone's lives to maintain healthy bones and get calcium. However, despite this deceitful advertising, there are many health concerns that were ignored to help increase the sales of dairy. This was because once the war ended, the demand for dairy products was reduced significantly. However, instead of making less milk, the government worked with farmers to promote the use of milk, making it free in places like schools for children, along with huge promotional campaigns for milk and its, quote, benefits. The US government recommended that children should drink 4 glasses of milk a day, and still recommend that children and adults have 3 cups of milk a day, placing the same emphasis on milk as they do on vegetables. However, there was still a huge surplus of dairy products, so in 1977, the US government paid the dairy industry $2 billion over the course of 4 years to buy the surplus of products. The US government then proceeded to pour tax money into the dairy industry, which drove down the cost of dairy production, leading to a greater surplus of dairy products. In 1983, the dairy industry went to Congress and created a scheme called the Dairy Checkoff, which is described as, quote, funded by dairy farmers as well as dairy importers. Dairy Checkoff drives programs aimed at promoting dairy consumption and protecting and enhancing the positive image of dairy farmers, dairy products, and the dairy industry, end quote. This has led to dairy products such as cheese being included in more fast food chains such as McDonald's. Promoting the use of dairy products was approved by the USDA, which is the government department that sets out nutritional guidelines in America. This is unusual since studies show how we don't need dairy products and how they have been shown to cause harm to our bodies, such as giving us increased risk of things such as cancer, while also having little to no impact on our bone health. Milk was still advertised as a health drink using marketing campaigns such as Got Milk, but there are a multitude of health risks, such as increased risks of breast cancer and prostate cancer, type 2 diabetes, heart diseases, and even Alzheimer's disease. Alongside these health concerns, there is also ethical and environmental issues. A huge amount of water and land is provided for the 270 million dairy cows in the world, which also produce a huge amount of greenhouse gas emissions, which contribute to climate change. Along with this is the issue of ethics, such as artificially inseminating the cows as they must be pregnant or have recently given birth to produce milk, a fact which many people are still unaware of. They will most likely never see their child again after giving birth to them. The dairy industry is unethical and has a hugely negative impact on the environment, alongside being cruel to the animals. Dairy-based products increase the risk of digestive issues, prostate cancer, breast cancer, and heart disease. Over the years, the dairy industry, especially in America, has manipulated people through collusion with the government and the overall promotion of dairy being a necessity in our lives. This has all come at the expense of people's health, tax money, the planet, and the animals involved in the process of creating these products. Another truth I will be uncovering is the truth behind the meat industry in America. Meat has always been a staple of their food culture, from burgers to hot dogs, and the USDA and FDA recommend that Americans should eat 155 grams of meat per day, which is double what is recommended in Europe. So far in 2021, over 14 billion animals have already been killed this year, and over 50% of America's water goes towards animal agriculture, which shows its huge environmental impact. Americans have been led to think that they need meat for nutrients such as fats and proteins, being told by the government that they need to have 155 grams of meat per day. All of this meat consumption leads to a range of health issues, such as drug-resistant infections from the use of antibiotics in their meat. They also wash their chicken with chlorine and allow the use of meat glue, both of which are banned in the EU due to health concerns. These health issues, such as drug-resistant infections, are predicted to be the leading cause of mortality in America by 2050, surpassing cancer in its death rate. Alongside this, meat consumption can lead to other health issues such as heart disease, cancer, and increased risk of consuming bacteria such as salmonella, since the chlorine used to wash the chicken makes the bacteria undetectable but can still allow it to grow. The American meat industry is an unethical, corrupt industry that currently poses countless health risks to the American people. The FDA and the USDA seem to have alternative motives such as money, since they are private businesses, because they deem things such as meat glue and the use of antibiotics in animals as safe, despite all the evidence that shows us how harmful these things are to the human body. Along with all the unethical practices that are being performed on the animals themselves, throughout the industry, such as being pumped full of antibiotics and living in small enclosed spaces. Despite what the American people have been told, you can get all the nutrients you need without the risks from a plant-based diet, which is also safer and more ethical. Rather than milk, you can get your calcium from plants, which is also better absorbed into the body. The plants that can give calcium include leafy green vegetables and legumes, such as broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and kale. These are all loaded with easily absorbed calcium and a host of other healthy and important nutrients, which is easily better than the 4 glasses of milk a day that USDA recommends. Calcium isn't the only thing that can be absorbed from plant-based alternatives. You can also get all the protein you need in your diet from plants such as tofu, lentils, chickpeas, green peas, along with other vegetables, instead of eating meat. There are many benefits to having a plant-based diet that are being researched more and more recently. Plant-based diet is also healthier. People who eat vegan are shown to have a lower BMI, lower rates of obesity, higher levels of fibre in their diet, and seem to have more energy, whilst also allowing them to feel full for longer. Overall, a plant-based diet is more ethical, with plenty of alternatives such as plant-based milk and foods such as nuggets, burgers, fish fingers, and other products. Not only are there plenty of easy and healthier alternatives, one can also reduce their carbon footprint significantly. The propaganda that the American government set out to line their own pockets also allows for huge amounts of miscommunication between provider and consumer. Some notable surveys have uncovered some incredible statistics, such as one survey which showed that 72% of children in urban California did not know that cheese came from cow's milk. Through the means of advertisements which present dairy as healthy and meat as manly, the people of America seem to lack understanding of how their food arrives onto their plate. The lack of education towards food and its process from farm to factory to your fridge at home has allowed for one of the greatest and most profitable deceptions known to history. It is one of the most refined arts in the world and has managed to deceive people from all walks of life. It may be true that an American cheeseburger is a burger, but the truth behind its creation and the process it goes through to go from cow to chow is often too horrendous for people to want to know. But maybe if the deceptions of these industries were unveiled, there may be far fewer greenhouse gases, fewer dead animals, and fewer health risks to us all.